reading through the book of Maccabees, and some pretty grisly scenes, the scenes of torture, and just a really horrible religious persecution that was endured. Saints Peter and Paul, as you know, both were also martyrs. There's a phrase that was inscribed on the kind of the top of the seminary where I studied in Rome, that basically translated to, "O blood of the martyrs, Saints Peter and Paul, that fertilized or gave birth to the Church of Rome." And I think this is it's the hard thing for us to many times comprehend. You know, we tend to think that churches are built up or communities are built up through power and through influence, that it's very easy for us to kind of look to worldly success as being, if we care about the church, that's where we would, see trying to grow, and the sign of the health of the church would be, even in terms of how much influence and earthly success the church experiences in the world, in our time. But the lives of Saints Peter and Paul, really, I think, as we celebrate these basilicas dedicated to them, it really is a good check to us to say that the church is built on these two people who were martyred and who, when they died, had very little to show for their life. St. Peter and Paul, both in Rome, if we had been there at the time, I think most of us, we might have very well said that they had failed. It looked like they had failed. And many of the communities that they had established, there's even some question as to whether the divisions in the Christian community, they were kind of being turned over to the Romans because of the fighting even within Christianity at that time. So it wasn't just persecution from the Romans. Even within the communities that they served, they were not necessarily very popular. These were two people who struggled and suffered and who met with pretty brutal ends. And yet the church today says, this is the foundation. This is the foundation. So for us, I think, what does that say? Well, let's not put our hope in this world. Let's not be afraid of conflict and turmoil. Let's not be afraid of suffering, but instead prioritize what these two men witnessed to, which is love that never fails, perseverance in the service of the Lord, no matter what, right? To belong to Christ and to always remember that in the end, these two men knew very clearly, in the end, they answer to Him and to Him alone.